In this video, I'll share some of the common reasons that your low and medium content books are not selling on Amazon and how you can fix it. Hi, I'm Caroline. Welcome to my channel. Every single week, I share videos all about self-publishing books so that you can build your own self-publishing business selling low and medium content books on Amazon. And I really want you to succeed with your self-publishing business. So I do hope that this video will help you out if you are struggling to make sales and have no idea why. Let's face it, there are a lot of books published on Amazon. There are literally millions of them, and there are thousands of new ones being published every single day. So you really do have to make sure that you're doing all the right things to give your books the best chance at being found by Amazon's customers and them actually buying them. So let's take a look at some of the common things that stop books selling. These aren't the only things, but they are usually the ones that I see affecting sales, and I'll show you examples as well so you can really see the differences between books that sell and books that don't. Let's get straight into it, and the first reason we are going to look at that causes books to not sell, and that is not using the right keywords. Oh yes, keywords. Unfortunately, selling books isn't all about the fun, creative side of it, which is designing and creating the books. There's also actually a lot of back-end technical stuff, which is equally important. Keywords is one of those things. There are a few places where keywords come into play, but for this video, I'm talking about the main keywords that you'll be using in your title and your subtitle. So yes, your title and your subtitle are keywords, and they're searchable keywords. Now, keywords are words and phrases that Amazon's customers use when they type something into the search bar on Amazon to look for something. And you need to use keywords to make your book visible to customers looking for the kind of book that you publish. Firstly, you cannot always expect that you just know exactly what customers are typing in to search for things. We all have different minds that work differently, and just because you think someone would be using a certain word or phrase to search for something, or when you search for something you use certain keywords or phrases, doesn't actually mean other people are or the customers are. We will look at some examples, and then I'll show you the easiest way to see what Amazon's customers are actually searching for. I would also like to say before we get any further into this video that I have just gone onto Amazon and searched for some books, which I'm going to show you in this video as some examples. And this is not to put anyone down or put their books down or to say that they aren't good enough or they shouldn't be publishing books. This is just constructive criticism, and I really do hope that it comes across that way so that we can all learn and make better books. So the first example of not using right keywords is this one right here. Wonderful World of Veggies, which is a coloring book. So this isn't commenting really at all about the book itself. The book looks great, but the problem here is that it's going to have so much trouble being found by Amazon's customers. Why is that? Because nobody is going to be searching for the words Wonderful World of Veggies unless you are promoting this book elsewhere away from Amazon, and say it's gone viral on TikTok or something and people are coming onto Amazon and looking for this book specifically, then it will never get found. So the part of this title and subtitle is the part that goes before this colon is the title, and the part after it is the subtitle. And when you are naming your books, you need to think like a customer. I know that it is tempting to get creative and try to come up with a really unique name for your book to make it stand out, but unfortunately, it does the complete opposite. Now, going back to this title, it does have adult coloring books as the last part of the subtitle in brackets, but most people's eyes are drawn to the actual title. Up here in the title, that's where you need to make it clear what this book is so the customer can see that it matches whatever keywords they entered into the search bar. If a customer is searching for a vegetable coloring book, that's exactly what they're going to type into the search bar. So ideally, this book's title should be Vegetable Coloring Book for Adults. Also, on another note on the cover here, there is nowhere on the cover of this book that says it is a coloring book. The images on the cover don't even show that it could have coloring pages in it, so people might not even really realize it's a coloring book. Sometimes when people are scrolling through the search results, they're just looking at the covers that might catch their attention at first. And in my opinion, this actually looks more like maybe a non-fiction book about vegetables just by looking at the cover. So either having some images referring to the fact that it's a coloring book or some big words saying coloring book on the cover will help, so that when it does come up in the search results, customers are going to know straight away that it is actually a coloring book. Now, the next example that I want to show you is kind of the opposite of this vegetable coloring book, and it's this one here, coloring book for adults. But unfortunately, this book will probably never get found because these keywords are just way too broad, way too general. Yes, people go to Amazon and they will type in the search bar coloring book for adults, but it is a very popular keyword phrase. And do you know how many books show up for that keyword? Let's take a quick look. So we've got over 60,000 results for coloring book for adults. There are hundreds and thousands of books that will come up for that keyword. So unless your book is already a bestseller, it will never get near the top of the search results for such a popular keyword phrase. You need to be more specific, and your book needs to be more specific. By adding on an extra word to that title will reduce the competition by so much and give you so much more opportunity for your book to be actually shown to customers, so that they have the opportunity to buy it. Examples are flower coloring book. That reduces those results right down to 10,000. That's a massive difference in how many books you're competing with. You could do a mandala coloring book, and again, it's dropped right down to 10,000 for the search results for mandala coloring book. Something like a mushroom coloring book, that's going to drop the results right down to 1,000. So by being a little bit more specific, targeting a sub niche under coloring book for adults, and then using those keywords in your title and your subtitle means that you're going to have so much more, a bigger chance of being in the top of the search results so that customers can actually find your book and buy it. The next example that I'm going to share is this one here, Travelista coloring book for adults. Now, this one isn't too bad in the sense that the title uses nice strong keywords like coloring book for adults, but the problem is going to be calling it Travelista. So this is an example of trying to be creative and unique, but it having the opposite effect. No one is going to use the word Travelista when searching for a coloring book around the topic of travel or around the topic of exploring the world or even landscapes. So this is an example of where you just need to name the book using whatever words customers are going to be searching for to find this type of book. Let me show you on Amazon. If we type the name of this book into the search bar, let's see if Travelista coloring comes up. So nothing's showing up here. We've got down here Amazon suggestions, no results found. So literally nobody is searching for the keywords Travelista coloring book. But let's say we're looking for a coloring book around travel. So we've got travel coloring book. Now we've got some suggestions. We've got coloring kits are coming up. Coloring book for adults is showing up down here. We've got lots of other suggestions. And so this is how you can research keywords for your own book's title and match it to what customers are searching for. Now, for some reason, while I'm filming this video, it's not showing up correctly. It's doing a little bit of a funky thing. Basically, when you start typing into the search bar like I just did, a drop-down menu will come up, and this should also look like this, but for some reason it's not today. But this shows you keywords and phrases that Amazon's customers have previously searched for, so you can see exactly what words actual customers are using to search for books, and this is how you can decide on a title for your book using the keywords that customers are searching for. So let's just be very general and type in coloring book. It's going to bring up other kinds of keywords and phrases that customers are searching for around coloring books. So they're typing in words like coloring books for adults relaxation, coloring books for kids. So let's say coloring book for kids, and see, we'll drill down a little bit more. What are people searching for when they're searching for kids coloring books? So we've got coloring book for kids aged 4 to 8, aged 8 to 12. So this is going to help me be more specific in my title, which essentially are the keywords, to help customers find my book. And I do understand that for a lot of you, this is a creative endeavor, and you might sort of say, well, I don't care. I just want to call my book whatever I want to call it. But you also have to remember that it's a business and you're in the business to sell your book. And if you want to sell your book, there are some things that you're going to have to let go of or compromise on in order to be able to get your book seen by customers and get your book bought by customers. Okay, so for the last example for this one, and this is a great example of what you should be doing, and that is this cryptogram puzzle book for adults. So those words are exactly what a customer will type into Amazon to look for a cryptogram puzzle book. It is that easy. The next reason that books don't sell is simply because they aren't high quality enough. This can be very hard to hear, especially when you've put so much time and effort into making a book, but the reality is that you are competing with thousands of other books on Amazon, and customers basically just want the best of the bunch. You have to detach yourself from the book, and as I said earlier, look at it through the eyes of the customer. Let's go back to coloring books and we'll take a look at some coloring books. I just did a search for coloring book for adults, and we scroll down, we'll go to the top row here. This is the sponsored products, these four here. So these are the books that are paying for advertising. They are paying to be at the top of the search results. We have a couple of the Coco Yo, Coco Wyo books. These two here, they are the most popular coloring books on Amazon at the moment. And then there's this Valentine's Day coloring book in the same kind of style as these Coco Yo books. And then there is this unicorn coloring book for adults and kids. This person is probably paying a lot of money in ads to have their book showing up for such a popular, such a competitive keyword. But forgetting that part of it, when you are looking at these four books and you're comparing this book to the one beside it, it just does not look as professional and high quality as the ones next to it. So as a customer looking at these search results, you have to look at this and honestly say to yourself, which book do you think the customer is going to pick out of these four? They are going to pick the ones that look very high quality. They have used professional illustrations on the cover. They have followed the trends of what customers are buying right now. Things like customers are buying this square format books with these really cute and bold and easy styles of coloring pages within them. This unicorn coloring book, unfortunately, just does not match the standards of what coloring books need to be for customers to buy them. And regardless of whether the coloring images inside of this book are amazing or not, customers are going to judge this book by its cover. And they're probably not even going to click on it to look at what is inside of it, purely based on the cover just not being up to par with the rest of coloring books. And it's not just these three it's competing with, obviously. You have hundreds of thousands of coloring books that are just as high quality as the first four that we looked at, that book is going to be competing with. Another example is this Easter word search book. And looking just at the cover of this book first, again, this cover is just not professional enough to compete with other word search puzzle books that are currently selling. And I do always say, whenever I talk about covers in my videos, you really have to look at where your skills lie. And if you can't design and create a book cover that is going to be as good as, if not better, than all those other professional covers that you're competing with, then you need to get somebody else to create your covers for you. You need to outsource that part of your book creation process. Now, if we just head on over here, this is currently the best-selling word search puzzle book, and the difference in the quality is just massive. And you have to remember that the cover is what makes a customer click on it to look at it further, and if the cover doesn't match up to the standards of other books in the niche, they're going to skip right past it. And then if we take a look at the inside of this book, the puzzles themselves, they're fine. Word search puzzle books are generally very plain. There's never usually anything really creative or exciting about them, but there's only a few words per puzzle. Is this a book for kids? The words themselves don't seem like it. They're not really words that kids would really know how to spell, depending on their age, I guess. It doesn't state that it's for kids. But when we head on over to the best-selling word search puzzle book and look at their puzzles, they usually have different levels of difficulty and lots more words, because adults want a challenge. They don't want to be looking for 5 or 6 words. And so if a customer does look at this book and compares it to the others and sees that it does only have a handful of words, that's if they do click on it despite the cover of it, and they look at the inside of the book, there's a very small amount of words for them to actually find, then they'll most likely buy the other book. And the last reason for books not selling that we are going to talk about today is wrong pricing. Pricing is so important because it can sway a customer's decision on whether to buy or not. So let's say you are not having the first 2 problems that we talked about, which was using wrong keywords and not having a high enough quality of a book. Let's say you're all good with those 2 and your book still isn't showing up in the search results for customers and they're not buying your book. You might need to look at your pricing strategy. People usually go 2 ways here. They price too low or they price too high, and both will cause your book to not sell. The simple answer here is that you need to hover somewhere around what the other books in your niche are pricing their books at. In terms of pricing too low, some people think that if they come in as the cheapest book in the niche, then customers will automatically buy theirs because it's the best price. But actually, customers aren't always looking for the cheapest. Being the cheapest or the lowest priced book can bring with it a perception of low quality. Low priced usually means low quality, and this can put customers off. And then in the other direction, some people will think that their book is worth more than others. They've put a lot of time and effort into creating the book and they want to chase those big royalties. And so they price the book higher than all the others. Most of the time, especially when your book doesn't offer something extra than the other books to warrant that higher price, customers are not going to pay a higher price when they can get something equally as good for a cheaper price. Spend some time going through your niche and look at all the other books. Look at the ones that are selling and see what they're pricing their books at. If they are pricing their books higher than others, is there a reason for that? Does their book offer something that the others don't? We've seen this happen with multiple books that have gone viral on TikTok, and due to the amount of sales they're getting because they're so popular on TikTok, they were able to price their book higher and get higher royalties because of this sort of massive cult following they've grown on a social media platform. So in those sorts of instances, which are not very common, there's a reason that some books do charge higher and still make sales. If they have priced their book lower than others, then again, why? So take a look at books that are selling and also the ones that are not selling, and look at their pricing and see if it's affecting their sales in any way. My go-to for pricing is to just price your book around the same as the books that are currently selling on Amazon. And if you do want to make your price a little bit lower or a little bit higher, then that's fine. Just don't make it too much of a difference. Just make it a small amount so that it doesn't really put the customers off from buying. So that is 3 of the main reasons that I see low content books not selling on Amazon. I hope that you have found this video helpful, and that if you are struggling with sales, it maybe gives some insight as to possible reasons why that is happening. Remember that we learn with experience, and the more books that you design and make, the better that they get and the better you get at the strategies that you need to use when publishing your book, and the closer that you get to publishing books that sell. If you did enjoy this video, YouTube thinks that you might like these ones too, so please go check them out to learn more about self-publishing your own low and medium content books on Amazon. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.